Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for episode 14 for this season, otherwise entitled Cause and XS. But of course, before we get into anything else, let's obviously watch that trailer.
There are consequences to time travel.
This Tuesday.
It's Mom. I have to fix this.
This Tuesday.
I keep trying to change the outcome.
This Tuesday.
I was supposed to protect you.
This Tuesday. This Tuesday.
Why can't I fix this?
So yeah, that's probably one of the most unique trailers I think we've ever had for The Flash. It's really cool. I must admit, I really like how they set out that trailer. I think it just gives us nice little, little taste tester and a little bit of an example for what the flavor for this episode will be. So I think it was a very good trailer to just hype up this episode. But last episode we had, the gold-faced episode where we had a couple of things going on with Iris, with her journalism arc actually being relevant, which is really good to see. She was very, very close to being MVP for the episode. It was so close. Couldn't believe how close it was. But I guess the big thing that came from the end of the episode was Nora being able to sort of shift Sherlock's focus from, going after her and the different writings in the notebook and stuff like that, and shifted over to trying to protect that new meta love interest of Renee, I think her name was, and all of that. So that's like the big thing that sort of carries onto this episode. And it'd be silly of me to not to note about the whole, because this is actually the biggest thing that's carrying over, and that is of course the fact that Iris stabbed Cicada and basically got in his business. So he's obviously not going to be very happy about that. So you might be looking to I don't know, necessarily get revenge is the best word, but maybe just pay back the favor. But obviously, before we get into the actual breakdown of the trailer, let's quickly go over the synopsis or description, as it gives us a bit of more, context and stuff. But obviously, let me know in the comments section what you're looking forward to most in this episode, because, or just let me know your thoughts on the trailer release, because I'm sure all of you guys have differing thoughts and opinions as to, what you think of it, as well as to what you expect in the trailer, in the episode, might I say, as well. After Iris lands in serious danger, Nora races to save her mother. Barry puts the finishing touches on the metahuman cure, leaving Cisco with a rare night off, so he decides to take Camilla on a date. But we start off the trailer by seeing the shady and spooky and creepy and mysterious silhouette of Cicada through the door of Iris's Central City Citizen, aka the CCC, aka the tongue twister, the office door of that. I actually really do like this shot, I'm not going to lie. It just adds a bit of creepiness to the whole scene that will be going on in this episode. Probably more than once. I think we're going to get this shot more than once just because of the whole, time loop aspect of this episode. But yeah, we do see Cicada in the same silhouette as well when I'm this time the reflection of Iris's window, I guess. So Iris is looking out the window and you can see the reflection. So he's obviously after her at some stage in this episode, whether it's the beginning or later on. With another shot showing Iris somewhat struggling, it possibly looks like her arms or wrists might be tied and bound together. Obviously we can't see her arms to be 100% sure, but the struggle that she gives off sort of looks like they might be bound and stuff together. But this is then when we hear Barry tell Nora over a cup of Smokin' Joe that there are consequences to time travel. So this brings up an interesting question. Why is Barry reaffirming this to Nora? It will be interesting to see how this is all brought up. If anything, this wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if this is towards the end of the episode and follows everything that takes place in this episode, because I don't see how this comes up without Barry being a bit more worried as to why Nora would be looking to time travel after this. You would think he would get involved or something like that, rather than going and doing the metahuman cure, unless, it's a waste of time, Barry doing that, and maybe they try and cure Cicada in this episode, who knows. So yeah, I'm going to put my money on probably Red, blackjack dealer there, Red being that this happens after the events for most of this episode. I guess Black's a good option, that being that, it is during the episode, towards the beginning, and Barry just decides to spend his time on the cure because, well, it's the other option and a needed option. But I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments. But back to that shot of Iris struggling I was talking about before. Straight after that in the trailer, we do see Nora rushing to open her little notebook thing that obviously Sherlock was investigating before, and saying, I have to fix this. Now, fixing or fix implies that something is broken, or that you broke it as well. So it would be interesting to see if Nora thinks that, like, due to her maybe messing with Sherlock's trail on the notebook and all of that, and like diverting that attention to protecting Renee, his new meta love interest, who was a doppelganger of his ex-wives, that Cicada is now after her mother, as well as like whatever else happens in this episode. But knowing Nora and the classic one step forward, two steps back approach that the writers have gone with for her this season, she probably does something, or at least she does something that makes her think that certain things are going to happen. Like, she might do something at the beginning of the episode or throughout the beginning of the episode that makes her think that all these events that are happening are due to her. And now she has to go on and stop other things from happening, but in a certain way to sort of prevent other things from happening, which we will discuss in more detail a bit later on the video, because I have to give like an example and sort of lay everything out. But this is the part in the trailer where we start to get like the repetition of this Tuesday. So, you know, like the voiceover dude saying this Tuesday, which does heavily suggest that Nora will be in a time loop of some sort this episode, which will be very fun. Legends of Tomorrow did this last season. Was it last? Yeah, last season with the Zari character, and it was a very fun and enjoyable episode. For those that watch Legends, I'm sure you'll agree with me on that one. It does also have like a Groundhog Day and also like Happy Death Day vibe to it as well. It will be interesting to see like what resets the time loop every single time, whether it be Nora manually doing it, so she just runs back to the same point, or maybe she has some device on her gauntlets that may allow her to do it automatically if needed. I don't think they're going to do like a Happy Death Day situation where Nora dies, or like that was also on Legends, I think, when like the time bomb blew up. I don't think that's going to be the case where Death has to reset it. I think Nora might just manually do it. But then again, time traveling back to the same point over and over and over and over again seems like super risky. You just need to be like 1 second off to face disaster and have like 3 or 4 of you there at just one single point in time, just looking at each other and pointing. So yeah, that wouldn't be good. And I think time would just be like, oh, what the hell's going on here? Just like fold on itself or something like that. Another option is obviously that she could be, you know, just rewinding time. We know that in episode 1 that she revealed that she could do that, and it was in episode 4, where we saw like a small example of that. I can't remember if we've seen her rewind time after that, or if that's the only visual evidence of us, you know, seeing her rewind time. But if she's rewinding time, that would, you know, eliminate her possibly running into past versions or other versions of herself and avoiding like a Spider-Man meme situation. So that could happen. I guess the big question that comes around from that is how fast can she rewind? Can she rewind a year if possible? Because in this situation where she's like reliving all the moments over and over again, you know, you have to think a minimum of at least an hour is playing out each time, if not more, depending on how far along she gets. So can she rewind that long? Because the example we saw in episode 4 was literally like a couple of seconds. So it was just like her basically rewinding Barry a bit so she could catch up to him. So rewinding's an option. I'd like to see that happen. It'd be pretty cool, but we'll have to wait and see. But the next part of the trailer to go over is when we actually see Ralph potentially getting killed by Cicada. Now, he is holding his dagger the wrong way around, like the blade's facing him, which is, you know, you don't want to be running around the kitchen, Cicada, you know, holding the knife like that, so be careful. So it is just the handle end that is jabbing into Ralph's back, but you can like see like the glow showing on the other side of Ralph's chest. So I guess we're just left to assume that maybe Cicada is like really draining Ralph's powers here. But then again, the handle isn't necessarily dull, so it still might be able to stab, who knows. But the next shot also shows Ralph in what looks to be a pose with his hands like tied behind his back. So I'm guessing Cicada maybe like found some rope in his house or something and decided to, you know, not let it go to waste. It will be interesting to see what Cicada's motives are in this episode. Like, is he specifically just going after Iris because of what happened last episode? Or is he possibly more going for the Flash and working his way up the ladder towards him? Because we also do see Sherlock, like Iris and Ralph, also with his hands tied behind his back, and I think they're like tied to a pole or something. As I said, I think he just found some rope and didn't want it to go to waste. But I think what would be cool to see in this episode, tying back to what I was alluding to before, is if we actually do see like members of Team Flash, or possibly all of them, die in different scenarios and situations. So Iris, Ralph, Sherlock, maybe Caitlin and Cisco, maybe even Barry, we all see them die to the, dagger of Cicada at some point in this episode. But it is up to Nora to line everything up perfectly to fix it. So by this, I mean that there could be, you know, the first scenario, like the OG one where Iris is killed in her office for the Central City Citizen, so Nora fixes that and saves her, but that leads to Ralph being killed by Cicada, so she has to, like, fix that by saving both Ralph and Iris, which could then lead to Sherlock being killed, So she has to fix that, which could result in Iris being killed again after she saves her initially, as well as Ralph and Sherlock. So it could be a massive brain teaser and just scrambler and just a big stressful situation as a whole. And she would maybe need to convince everyone around her of what's going on, which is similar to those, past examples of time loops from other movies and TV shows. Trying to gain one or a few people's trust to help you sort out the time loop and fix it once and for all. You do see, especially towards the end of the trailer, that Nora is just like freaking out completely and just stressing out and just losing control. I mean, there is another shot of her holding the notebook where she says, "I'm trying to change the outcome." So it just seems that a lot of stuff is going against her in this episode, which makes you think what Reverse Flash might be thinking of all of this. And personally, I think he would be loving it because it would make Nora feel like she isn't in full control of everything and would still need his guidance and help with everything. So they would put him a couple of levels up and Nora a couple of levels down. So yeah, Reverse Flash would be loving it. It will be interesting to see what's in her notebook that could help her. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of notes and a lot of, help there. But I don't think it's going to be super, super helpful because otherwise Nora wouldn't be stressing like she is from what we see in this trailer. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, guys, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions. Are you looking forward to this episode? Do you have any different opinions to me, or do you have any corrections that need to be made from what I said in this video? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.